it's like working quickly. It's like you apply the paint quickly to the canvas, and then you stand back, and either you like what you see or you don't. But you're not there pre-analyzing or pre-planning. You're in the moment.
It is Wild Green by Foals. That's how it sounds on the record. We're going to discover how they got there. So purchase of a new synthesizer was kind of the lead-in. Did that mean you got it out of the package, you fire it up, you press a button, and then a new idea springs into your mind?
Well, yeah, pretty much on this one, except it wasn't one of the new ones. It was just a kind of synth we've had lying around for a few albums. It's like the most basic synthesizer, but it's one of the best. This mini log thing. Loads of bands have got them, and they're great. They're great things to have. But yeah, it was sort of plug it in, and I quite like, because synths are quite complicated, I like just having quite a random approach to them, especially with arpeggios like that, and just sort of like program in a load of random notes and see if it makes any sense. And that was one of them where it was just like, I was like, instantly it sounds really French. I thought, I was like, that's a really French arpeggio. And it was just great. And then literally just hit play, and it just ran for hours. We jammed all over it.
Are you able to play that?
Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, obviously that's got a bit of reverb on it.
Because that also reminds me of, say, Frankie Knuckles or something like that.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It's just, I love it when that happens. You're just like, that was so random, and I would never be able to make it again. I'm sure someone musical could figure out what's going on, but
we didn't recreate it, right?
No, it's the same one. It's just, this has been processed by Dan Kerry.
Yeah.
So you can hear like the reverb trails and stuff, which is...
He put it through some modular units that he's got, but it is the original arpeggio from the very first day that we jammed it.
And a lot of that stuff you hear of those reverbs, they're slightly side chaining, and when you record with Dan, all manner of things are side chaining and moving up and down, left and right. Yeah, it's like all that stuff you can hear gives it a much more organic feel, and he'd be doing that live with us.
Right.
This is quite an easy performance for me. I just had to hit play.
But it's interesting that you found that or created that, and then you jam along with that. The three of you would just kind of have that on in the background and pick up whatever instrument, and then just start seeing where it took you.
So we were both playing guitar over it, and then I would probably be putting on a pog pedal to do the bass. Yeah, and the guitars. I mean, what I remember about the first time we were playing this was just like that the arpeggio felt like pretty, and it felt like bucolic. It felt like something out of the natural. I don't know, like felt quite natural. It felt like, it just felt like a missing piece in the record. But yeah, we would just play the guitars over it, and I think the guitars actually kind of interestingly are some of the most like Foalsy guitars. They're very much like we allowed the guitars just to be like exactly the way we play, or people think of the way we play.
Let me just try and find those guitars we're speaking of. And that's effectively the sound of the rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
And so is that Yanis playing the guitar there?
That's both me and Yanis all in one.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Because in my mind, when I visualize a picture of Foals playing together, it's the two of you playing guitar like that.
Yeah,
kind of doing that.
Yeah. So that it was just, we played it probably, it was quite formless as well. Like we didn't even think about structures, or I think because of the arp rolling the whole time, it allowed the song just to be this like one hypnotic moment that was evolving, but it wasn't prey to like, more conventional song structures. And we didn't really think about it that way. And so we would just be playing some guitar. Jack was just holding a beat down, and then I would sing occasionally, and then stop. And I think the point is like we kind of let it be very fluid and very open and free, and both the actual musical ingredients within the song are very free, and then I think our approach to treating those ingredients was also quite free.
Yeah, it's like a pulsing living organism that is kind of just moving all the time.
Yeah.
You mentioned the bass. Are you able to play that?
So the bass that's actually on the record was done at Dan's. Dan's got some mad like basses. He's got some interesting.
It's pretty.
I think this was the hollow body. He's got like a hollow body Gibson bass that is. It's also just sort of
pretty
quite out of
blown
tune in a
out.
cool way. But yeah, the bass line actually we kind of did at Dan's. It's quite different from the bass line that I was initially playing in the room. And it was pretty much one take. One thing that's really pleasant with recording with Dan is that lots of things, you work very quickly, it's very intuitive. He captures performances and then you kind of leave him to edit things later. You're not sat there for hours waiting for somebody to fix the intonation on a bass guitar or to get the mic. There's a real spontaneous feeling to recording with Dan, and I think you can hear it in this track that just ideas were thrown in, and there was an organic evolution of stuff, and it's kind of it's like working quickly. It's like you apply the paint quickly to the canvas, and then you stand back and either you like what you see or you don't, but you're not there pre-analyzing or pre-planning. You're in the moment, and I think this, why we wanted to choose Wild Green was just because it highlights that you can hear it.
So, and you applied the same approach that you were taking when you were jamming it in your rehearsal space, and then reapplied that when you went to Dan's studio. Was it Dan's studio in Streatham that you did the recording in? Because I know that you worked with a few different producers and you recorded in a few different places. Yeah,
and also where the producers lived.
Right.
I think we really felt like we needed a song like this on the album because of how direct and, in certain ways straightforward some of the other songs on the record were, to have this quite like wild. I mean, partly why it's called Wild Green is because it's got this kind of unkempt. It's not tidy, like purposefully. It's like a meadow that you've not mowed. You've let nature do its thing in the song.
Yeah. So it's your equivalent of No Mo May.
Yeah, that's kind of that's
on
literally
record.
what I was just thinking about. Of what?
No Mo May.
What's that?
Not meant to mow your lawn in May.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So all the wild ingredients
Well,
can
that's a
grow
record.
up, and yeah.
Should I play a bit of the? So this is I've got this called Last Sound System Vox, which is probably is one of the last times we jammed it in the writing room in Peckham.
So you were calling it sound system at that point.
It was called Sound System just because it felt like we were playing to this kind of organic, self-generating box that was, which was the arpeggio. The arpeggio was the sound system, So this,
You can hear how different that sounds. It's the same synth.
Yeah. But there's a real freedom to be able to just play it, and see what happens.
yeah.
Yeah.